A very good morning to you and welcome to the Business Lens on Rapid TV Abuja. It is great to have you with us on this edition where we talk about all the numbers and figures and how it directly affects you and your businesses. I am Divine Alex. So let's begin with the key business trends that matter right now, starting from the headlines. Nigeria has once again missed its OPEC crude oil production quota after averaging 1.49 million barrels per day in April 2026, marking the ninth consecutive month the country has fallen short of its official production targets. Away from that, petrol supply from the Dangote Petroleum refinery increased by 19% in April 2026, rising to 40.7 million liters per day as fuel imports continue to decline and government-owned refineries remained inactive. And to the next, where Nigeria's Debt Management Office has officially listed the 18.95%, which is 47.335 billion naira Series 3 sovereign green bond on the Nigerian Exchange and FMDQ Securities Exchange, as the federal government continues to raise climate-focused financing for sustainable development projects. And to the next, where the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority has launched a new centralized digital platform for personal licensing and medical certification as part of efforts to modernize aviation regulatory services and reduce delays across the sector. Now, away from that one, we go to the National Universities Commission that says over 24,000 Nigerians are expected to benefit from a new $65 million World Bank supported funding phase, which is supposed to be under the SPESSE project that is aimed at strengthening procurement, environmental and social standards capacity across the country. Away from that, we move to the next one that says that a federal high court in Abuja has sentenced former Minister of Power, Salah Maman, to a cumulative prison term of about 70 years in a money laundering case involving 33 billion naira, following this conviction on a 12-count amended charge that was filed by the EFCC. And that development is also coming alongside, side by side with another major corruption investigation within Nigeria's power and energy space. The EFCC, which is the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, has now arrested the Director General of the Energy Commission of Nigeria, Mustafa Abdullahi, over alleged money laundering involving funds reportedly estimated at 500 billion naira. According to the sources within the EFCC, Abdullahi was arrested in Abuja and is currently in the commission's custody as investigations continue. And in another country, still in the continent, Africa, Zambia's central bank has cut its benchmark interest rate again, reducing it to 13.25% from 13.5% as easing inflation and improving economic conditions encouraged policymakers to continue loosening monetary policies despite ongoing global uncertainties. And while Zambia is beginning to ease borrowing costs as inflation pressures slow, Nigeria appears to be moving in the opposite direction. Here at home, the headline inflation is now projected to rise again to 16.42% in April 2026, according to the Financial Market Dealers Association. This is driven by persistent food inflation, rising energy costs, and elevated global commodity prices, showing how different African economies are responding differently to the same global economic pressures. We will look at these stories and more after the break. I am Divine Alex. Stay with us. You are welcome back. This is still the Business Lens on Rapid Television, Abuja. My name is Divine Alex. Today's edition is one that is really special because today, after giving you the headlines, we are going straight to the overview and we head straight to the equities market and the capital market. But before I go deeper into giving you details of the equities and capital market update, let me give you an overview of what the headlines, in case you just join in, is all about. Now, from inflation concerns and falling state capital expenditure to energy sector reforms, crude oil supply gaps, corruption allegations, and rising global uncertainty, today's headlines reveal an economy that is still battling deep structural contradictions. Nigeria is trying to expand refining capacity, reform power supply, digitize key sectors, and attract investment. At the same time, inflation pressures remain elevated. Infrastructure spending is slowing, and governance questions continue to dominate critical sectors. So today, the bigger issue is not just whether reforms are happening, but whether these reforms are translating into real economic stability. If it assists our investor confidence, if it helps improve investor confidence and improve living conditions for Nigerians. Now, away from that, let's head straight to the equities market. Now, the market extends weekly bullish momentum between May 11 and May 14th, which is today. The Nigerian equities market maintained a broadly positive weekly trajectory with sustained buying interest pushing overall market performance higher, which is supported by strong liquidity and institutional participation across blue chip stocks. Now, from that one, we head to the broad-based sector participation support gains, which leads us to trading during the week that showed broad-based gains across key sectors, with financial services, consumer goods, and industrial stocks driving overall market direction, reflecting balanced investor positioning rather than isolated stock rallies. Now, when we look at the strong market breadth signals investor confidence, you see that market activity across from May 11 to 14th window reflected positive breadth conditions where gainers outpaced losers, reinforcing underlying investor confidence despite intermittent profit taking in selected mid-cap stocks. Now, from that one, let's head to the capital market updates that we have for you today. The NGX recorded a weekly increase in total market capitalization, rising by over 1 trillion naira during the period under review. This indicated continued portfolio inflows and sustained equity demand in the capital markets. Now, we also had the market turnover for the week rose to rise significantly, with billions of shares traded across hundreds of thousands of deals. This highlights strong participation from both retail and institutional investors in the capital market ecosystem. Now, that is not all, because we also have the situation where the broader capital markets maintained a strong year-to-date performance trajectory, with investor confidence reinforced by inflation hedge positioning in equities and expectations around earnings resilience and dividend flows. Market extends weekly bullish momentum between May 11 and May 14th of 2026 this year. The Nigerian equities markets maintained a broadly positive weekly trajectory, with sustained buying interest pushing overall market performance higher, supported by strong liquidity and institutional participation across blue chip stocks. And that is all we have for you today on today's edition of the Business Lens. My name is Divine Alex. Do follow us across our social media platforms at RapidTV. Bye for now.